Hello, this is Fate, and I'm coming at you today to do a oracle slash tarot reading for the collective. And so right now I have my mini altar set up. I have an effigy of the goddess here, an effigy of the goddess here, two Pasanka, and water for the ancestors. I have a cup of water for myself, as well as all my candles are lit, ready to bring in the magic. Now I've already shuffled, and I've pulled 3 cards. So the 3 cards I've pulled, let's make it so you can see, are the 4 of Earth, and they're reversed to me, the 4 of Water, the Queen of Earth, and the 5 of Fire. Now the 4 of Water in a traditional tarot deck is Cups, Earth is Pentacles, and Fire is Wands. Now, Cups is emotions, Earth is finances, and Fire is combat, right? Now, typically in a tarot reading, you won't see someone pull out their handy dandy notebook, but this one is so beautifully written and has tasks for you in it. So this is a Ukrainian deck called Flower of the Magic Fern. And if I turn, and the nice thing about this one is there's no reverse, but I'm going to interpret them as reverses because I think, that's always nice to know the difference, right? So the 4 of Water says to ask yourself, how can I stop allowing my negative thoughts to influence decisions I make in my life? Your action is to feel the feelings as they come and do not deny them, even if they're not immediately serving you. The essence is when we embody it, what is without any judgment and justification, we allow the flow of life to move through for us. And it says on the card, Ukraine's freedom has not perished, nor her glory gone. Once again, all Ukraine's fate will smile upon. Enemies will perish like dew in the sun. We shall possess all my people, a free land of our own. We will lay down soul and body and show that we are one. We'll stand together for our freedom. None shall rule our home. Ukraine's freedom is not perished, nor her glory gone. We still stand together for our freedom. None shall rule our home. And that was written by Patti Smith, and it was translated from Ukraine to English by Tanya Andrushko. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but she's the one who made this beautiful, beautiful deck. Now, the 4 of Water reversed. Maybe people are influencing you. You're letting negative influences that you've heard over time through your mind, through your life, and you're repeating them to yourselves, and they're influencing how you portray and see the world. And we need to look at that, and we need to deconstruct that. So something's going on in your life, in our collective lives, that we believe is negative or an untrue rhetoric. And with the Queen of Earth, that really solidifies it, because Earth is very practical, very down, like we think of it down to earth kind of idea. Queens usually represent feminine. So it says, ask yourself, can I act with ferocity when it is called upon to do what is right? Act boldly with resolve to do what is necessary to move forward. When we take steadfast measures, we find clarity and conscience. So maybe you're letting someone so this really makes sense. So 4 of Water, you're letting someone walk all over you. And right now, with this in reverse, you're really letting them get to you and make decisions for you that maybe aren't the best and healthiest decisions. So that could, as a collective, I really see that as we're listening to all these news sources and outlets, but we're not really listening to what is intrinsically true for ourselves. And we're letting people decide for us things that we shouldn't let them decide for us. And with the 5 of Fire is a time to take action. So we have the blacksmith here. How do I honor and accept difficulties I come upon in my life? Look beyond your reality. This will free you to accept barriers in your life as unforeseen opportunities. When we are willing to open our hearts to see that life's challenges are blessings, they bring us nearer to manifesting opulence in this lifetime. So again, this is in reverse. Someone's untrue rhetoric is making decisions for us. They're walking all over us, and we've lost our voice to stand against them. And we're in fear of doing what is right and following what our heart is. So we need to open ourselves to the collective and know that humans will do what they need to do to survive, and we need to look past that survival. I'm feeling drawn to pull powerful perspectives, and it'll tell me how many cards I'm pulling. Again, this is a wonderful one to read the guidebook for. A lot of people don't like reading guidebooks. I love the guidebooks because the people who wrote them put so much time, effort, and magic into them. So we're going to ask, how to defeat unforeseen circumstances. So how do we battle unforeseen circumstances? How do we battle unforeseen circumstances? How do we battle unforeseen circumstances? And I just shuffle until a deck falls out, or a card falls out. So a whole bunch of cards fell out, but one fell out upright. So we're going to put that to the side. And then that's number 26. And then I feel like we need another one. So let's see. What barriers do we face? What barriers? And then we got number 28. And I'm going to say they're both upright because of how we put them. So 26. And this one does have a reversed and upright, but upright is power is the now. Stop ruminating on what was and concentrate on what is. Are you living or existing? The future is not promised and is constantly in a state of flux, so live now. And then 28 says protection, alignment, dare to dream, letting your imagination take over, creating the future, going down the rabbit hole. So right now we need to protect what is ours, but what's intrinsically ours, which is the ability to create. I'm going to pull a Wild Woman Oracle. There's a lot of goddesses in this one, so I kind of want to pull possibly a goddess card, but let's see what this deck says. So who guides our creative force? Who guides our creative force? Who guides our creative force as a collective? Who guides our creative force as a collective? Who guides our creative force as a collective? And like I said, I just shuffle until one falls out. Sometimes I shuffle like this. Sometimes I do a bridge shuffle. It really depends on my mood. I'm not afraid of denting my cards. I believe cards should be lived in. Sometimes I just use a playing deck, like a typical bicycle honeybee playing deck, and I love it. So we have our card. We have two cards. So this is perfect. So we have the voice of the outcast, so advocacy is who's guiding us, and the Morgan, sovereignty. So the Morgan is a Celtic warrior goddess who takes on three forms: the Maeve, the Naveen, and the Morgul. So she's a battle goddess and she's a shapeshifter. And she's mostly associated with ravens. So the first one is number 7. Let me get to that page because that's advocacy. Voice of the outcast. What parts of myself am I consciously or unconsciously labeled unacceptable and unlovable can I reclaim and advocate for myself? And this is done in the Romany style of Esmeralda from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Esmeralda asks you to advocate for the outcasts who are othered by society and dehumanized by those in power. What's more, she asks you to become your own greatest advocate and compassionately give a voice to the unique parts of yourself and you've long rejected. And then the Morgan is number 21, and it says, what was a time of seeming misfortune in my past in hindsight led me to develop greater self-respect and personal sovereignty? The Morgan reminds you that life will never be without challenges. Hardships, boundaries, and death are inevitable. And while it may be difficult to see when you are in the moment, they will carry value. It is easy to believe in your own personal power and autonomy when the wheel turns in our favor, not so when we face misfortune. The Morgan asks you to stand firmly in your sovereignty, taking full dominion over your body, mind, heart, and soul. She wants you to develop willpower, grit, integrity, and self-respect. Qualities that never come freely or easily are only born from overcoming struggle and strife. Wow. So that really plays into the overall arching theme of this, which is standing up for ourselves. Standing up for the collective. Standing up for what is right, what we believe is right, and having that creative capacity to do that. And we're really seeing that with what's going on in the world today. When you turn on the news, there's a lot of fear mongering and a lot of bad things are happening. It's important to remember that it's okay to be afraid, but what's not okay is to give up. So I'm pulling the Citadel. This is by Fez Inkwright, and it's just absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous oracle deck. It's one of my favorites. It's one I don't let other people touch. Same with the Magic of the Flower Fern. So these are some of my personal decks. And we have the Shepherd and the Waker. I love the Shepherd. I refer to that a lot as I am merely but a shepherd, and without my flock I am nothing. And when I say that, it means that without meaning and purpose, like a collective people, I am no longer a shepherd. I am no longer a collective. So a shepherd is only merely there to guide and keep safe, like a teacher. Okay? So when people say shepherding or sheeple or something like that, I don't believe people are sheeple. I think you are part of a collective. You can't have one without the other. You can't have sheep without a shepherd. You can't have a shepherd without sheep. It's someone there merely to guide and help you through those times, right? So that's where we come to terms like priest and priestess and priestess. So we need to come together. The Shepherd talks about family. I just saw it. I'm going a little bananas because this is a harder book to follow because it has so many sections to it. So the Shepherd, it's time for you to look in your own relationships, family or otherwise, and reach out to them. Just as a shepherd guides their flock, don't be afraid to take the leading hand where it is needed. Someone needs to step up, and right now that's you. But there's a caveat. So the Shepherd is reversed to me. In giving so much energy and time to your social bonds, you may have gone overboard and began to smother them with your affections. Rather than putting so much effort in the affairs of others, give them some space and turn that love back on yourself. So that's where we get the Queen of Earth. We get that balance. Earth is very balanced. It has, in order to make up loam, which is what we consider the best earth for growing, you have air content, you have mineral content, which is your fire, you have water content, and then you have so you have the earth, air, fire, water in it. Loam has all the elements. Okay, the next one is the Waker. And the Waker is, right now it's important to practice awareness of your surroundings. Current events and the lives of those around you can be overwhelming, but you're only ever seeing part of the story. The ability to think critically and ask key questions is an important skill. Be perceptive about your situations happening around you and trust your own gut before acting. Inner and outer events are connected. So since it's reversed to you, it is someone who spent a long focusing on the outside world, what they've neglected to address the inner by focusing on external events. You've been ignoring what your body is telling you for too long, and your own personal world is out of balance. How are you feeling? What is your source of those feelings? Use some critical thinking skills for some important self-reflection. So, to caveat, 4 water, Queen of Earth, 5 of fire. We have the perspectives of collective and creative. We have the Morgan, we have the voice of the outcast, the shepherd and the waker. And that's a lot. We're asking you to come out of your shell, to forget those limiting beliefs, to advocate for yourself, to advocate for others, to use your creativity as your power, to stop letting people walk over to you, to reclaim your sovereignty, to be a voice for those who are the voiceless, right? People who are overlooked in society. And that's really, really daunting. So I'm going to give you what you can do for self-care. And this is Prairie Majestic Oracle by Kara Simmons and Amy Putney Koning. And I really like this one. My family is from the prairies, so I like it because it's a connection to my family. So what can the collective do for self-care? We got one card, and it's called Nest. And then what can the collective do for self-care? So we got Nest. What can the collective do for self-care for others? What? And we got Heal. Now, if I remember correctly, this one doesn't do reverses. So we have the deer mouse, and we have the purple cornflower. So we have Nest, which is would more tenderness help, and Heal, which is what is mending. So let's go to Nest. Yeah. So Nest is 58. Page 58 if you're following along at home. And it says, let's talk self-talk. When challenging situations or feelings arise, is your inner dialogue critical to or reassuring? How do you instinctively treat yourself? So you need to go inside yourself and, again, remove those limiting self-beliefs. Get rid of that outside influence and advocate for yourself and advocate for others. Like, in order to advocate for others and be a voice of the outcast, we need to really look at our internalized biases and hatred within ourselves. And that's really hard to do. I totally understand that. So taking time to rest and nest, to see where we are. And then we have page 124 for the purple is it coneflower? Coneflower. Which I believe is echinacea. Purple coneflower. Everybody experiences times of feeling weak, vulnerable, angry, or frustrated, often unaccountably and unexpectedly. Today is about reclaiming the way you move through life's more challenging emotions. Can you name any discomfort that's asking for your attention, big or small? Let go of old ideas that you are at fault. An underlying wound is likely coming to light. Feeling pain is a normal part of healing. Purple coneflower offers to hold you in her comforting blanket while you honor the process. She knit it herself with strong, fibrous hope. So there's hope. I'm seeing a lot of hope and a lot of homework. Homework on ourselves, homework on who we surround ourselves with, homework on how we navigate as a collective, homework on how we choose to speak up for others, how we choose to speak up for ourselves. What are our boundaries? What are our dreams? We need that creativity flowing, finding where your creative link is and using that to help the collective. My biggest creative link is knitting and crochet, and I teach that to people who are neurodivergent, and I try to do that on an honorarium base. So I'm doing it through an organization so that the people who are less fortunate can still afford to learn this really helpful and healing practice. So there's lots of ways to do that. You can offer your skills, you can offer your art, you can do gratitude. If you're a writer, write a gratitude every day. If you're an artist, maybe offer art classes or classes for the collective, or just communal art pieces where you work with other artists in the community to give back. There's lots of things we can do, and I know so many of us are facing so many hard times financially and other, and we're all burnt out. But remembering, like, we are like the shepherd, right? Without the sheep, there is no shepherd. Without the shepherd, there is no sheep. And before someone comes on here and says sheep would exist without shepherds, modern day sheep would not. And there's a whole bunch of reasons for that, but it's due to the cultivation of them for thousands of years. But it's a metaphor, and that's all that matters. Is the metaphor is that we are a collective entity, and we know one part works without the other. So if we're not working on ourselves, we can't help other people. If other people are looking for help, we help them to help themselves. I feel like this is a really hopeful message. It started off kind of rocky, and now it's really hopeful, and it makes sense of how the inner healing work. And maybe you've healed enough, and it's time for you to teach others on what you've healed upon, right? Maybe it's time to vocalize what you've healed from to help others with their healing. So it was lovely to talk to you all today. I hope you all enjoyed, and have a blessed Monday.